Steve Forbes is here, and he says this ruling just reshaped the entire presidential race. Steve, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you.
4-4. Both sides have already come out and said this underscores the importance of winning because of the Supreme Court rulings from here on out for many, many years to come. Who do you think it favors, though?
Well, what I think it underscores first is the rule of law, which this president's trampled on repeatedly. It also underscores the wise move Trump made several weeks ago when he put out that list of 11 possible replacements for the late Justice Scalia. Very good names, acknowledged even by those who oppose them, that these are substantive individuals. And that's one of what you might say Trump's trump cards, is what's going to happen to the court, because this will go out to 2040 or beyond. This selection.
But in this press conference, though, President Obama hammered also to the other side that this is just as important for them that they win, because these are the kind of rulings that are going to have to be upheld. So I understand that Hillary hasn't put out a list, but the mainstream voter out there, your average independent voter walking around, they probably don't know couldn't name one person on the Donald Trump list either. So which side is going to be able to articulate this in a sense that, this is why it's so important, because it does get a little bit mundane to connect all the dots for your apolitical person out there?
Well, first of all, it energizes the base of the Republican Party, which has been pretty depressed in the last few months. So it gets people to remind you some of the big issues out there. If you get your base energized, you have a chance to go after independents and disaffected Democrats. And in terms of the thing itself, the decision in and of itself, no, not going to have that big impact on an independent voter. But when you take it together, as Trump did yesterday in that speech where he listed all those things that Hillary Clinton allegedly did that were corrupt, then people start to connect the dots. Something is wrong here.
Outside the rule of law, which I think we all applaud, Paul Ryan spoke about this. He talked about the constitutional aspects of it as well, the separations of power. By the way, you know what? The Congress, particularly the Republicans in Congress, are almost to blame because they never stood up to President Obama. You let a tyrant get more and more power, he's going to grab more and more power. Right. But having said that, what about the immigration aspect of this, Steve? It does have to be dealt with at some point, somehow. Do you think ultimately there will be a compromise on a path to citizenship, similar to the things President Obama tried to force through? Or, of course, he took a shot at Donald Trump. Will we just deport everyone and have a fast-track way of them coming back in an orderly, legal fashion?
Well, you're not going to get anything done this year because the issue is just too hot and politicized.
But
ultimately next year, no, you're not going to have massive deportation. What you're going to see, if you get a compromise on this, one, they're not going to have citizenship, but legality as part of a package. Yes, that could be very well part of it. And part of the legality is if you have an embassy here in this country or a consulate here in this country, that is considered sovereign territory of, say, a country like Mexico. Even if they set up a truck and say, this is our consulate, that is considered sovereign territory. So what I think you're going to see is the mechanism is these illegals will go to a consulate, will register, and then eventually be given over several years legality if they meet certain tests on criminality, paying taxes and fines and that kind of thing. But that'll be part of a package. And part of the package is going to be what the Democrats don't like, and that is guest worker programs in areas where you need them, such as agriculture.
Right. Well, the bottom line, though, a huge victory for this thing we call the Constitution.
Yeah, something that some treat like an antique document, like part of the Supreme Court.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you, Charles.